So let's talk about top 5 wineries with food paired tastings. Okay, so we're talking about a winery that will serve you essentially a lunch, and they will, it's going to be paired, but sometimes it's flexible, kind of like yours, where it's all wine friendly. And so, but not ever. There's a small handful that do it, and some are not doing it right now during COVID. We'll talk about that in a bit. But let's start. So the start of this conversation has to be Soder.
Yes. Yep. Soder is. They do one of, if they're not best pairings in the valley. They source something like 80-90% of what they serve at their farm.
Yeah, easily.
Chase worked there for a while, I heard.
Yeah,
You started that program. Did you start that program?
No. They hired a chef in. I can't remember from where. And then he was there for about a year, and then they hired Alex Daly on in 2016. And when he came on, he was looking for some help, and I had just left the Painted Lady here in Newburgh and went to go help the Soder program. Pretty much just like, Alex ran the provisions tasting, and then I helped with a lot of like the preservation projects, because they do have like that 4-acre farm where they're growing. Nadine is amazing. Biodynamic farming. She does, fucking 18 varieties of tomatoes and peppers and squash and zucchini and melons and corn and like she's all over the map, and berries, and like it's crazy what they do. And then the culinary team just gets to go out every morning, walk the field, pick what they want to use, and then bring it into the kitchen and utilize it.
They don't know exactly what they're doing that week because they don't know what they're going to get. Then it's like, I guess we're getting 30 pounds of tomatoes today.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though.
Soder has a dominant food program in the valley. It's one of like,
and with their chef
so
Sarah
dedicated.
now, she's so awesome, and just like, we as people that get to talk to guests quite a bit at the end. A lot of times we get guests that, hey, where do we go? Where should we go for lunch or whatever? Like, hey, like if they're not already booked, you should call Soder and try to do a tasting, because like Sarah's gonna blow your mind with the food. The wines are killer, and if you can put the two together, that's like the whole experience that the Willamette Valley can offer.
Yep.
Yeah, they provide the amazing food, of course, and the staff typically is really well trained. So you get a dedicated staff member who wants to sit down with you, and it's an intense experience. They're
hour and a half set aside.
They'll get as nerdy as you
they're
want.
They're very dedicated. It's not what I would call a laid-back experience. So if you want to chill out, I'm talking to you. If you want to chill out, don't go to Soder.
Yeah.
Okay? Because
don't bring a bachelorette party to Soder.
No, don't. If you just want to drink with your friends for the day, this is not the place to go.
No.
Because
if you want to learn about wine, do it.
Right. Exactly.
But with that said, like, I think all of us can think of, like, when I think of Soder, I think of people that you can think of so many wineries where, like, oh, those people, they make great Pinot, but their Chardonnay's fine. Or those people, their bubbles are great. Everything else is okay. Soder, they don't make a bad wine. Like, from their bubbles to their Chardonnay to their, what's the one that's the Alsatian blend white? Silver Lining.
Silver Lining,
So good. To their Pinots are also exceptional. So, like.
Yeah.
Okay, Hallie, I hope you're watching. We can come up and record up there anytime if you want. If you want
Well, and a lot of places claim farm to table. Hard.
Oh, no,
that is actually farm to table. Like,
one of their chefs told me that, I don't think it was like an actually like graphed out number, but not like 96% of the food that they do is them.
That's amazing.
And when
we actually went to the ocean
local
and
farms.
got the sea salt. And, no.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably did.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Antigua Terra.
Awesome pairing. They've been at Keizer State this summer.
Yeah.
They bring a chef on location and then drive the food up in an ATV up to the platform overlooking the Amityville Hills.
Unique experience.
Which is gorgeous. And the wines. I mean, talk about quality of wines. Antigua Terra. Maggie's a genius.
Kills it.
Amazing.
These are expensive wines.
Yeah.
But they deliver.
Right.
But that
really
tasting
good.
without the pairing, just that tasting alone, blows people's minds.
Is
The
there-
view, the experience, the wines, the knowledge they get when they're
Right.
there.
Well, and when you talk about the number of winemakers in the valley that actually have a very real cult following, there's very few. Maggie
Yeah.
is one of those.
Oh yeah, she gets people in who are
you
like.
mention her
Antiquitera.
name all over the country. People know Antiquitera. They know Maggie. Super small production.
Yeah, and so they have two things. One's like the lunch. You can do a lunch with them, and I think that's like at least 150 a person or something like that. It's pricey.
Yeah.
And then they also have the collective tasting, which is 95, and that's lighter on food but still well crafted, very nice. Of course, the delicious wines, and again, staff that's
On
very
top of it.
well trained.
Yep.
They do a great
Their
job.
staff are storytellers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my best buds, Tynan, is
Yeah.
running their Keizer State program
Yep.
now, and like, I would ask him to, if I had children, to read books to my children. Like, that's the kind of storyteller
Tynan,
he is. Like,
will
it's
you
just
eulogize me at
He
my
was a
funeral?
preschool,
exactly.
he was a preschool teacher.
May
at
you
one point.
googlies.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Didn't think it was gonna be a Googleizer.
Yeah.
Is there a more expensive rosé in the valley?
How much is it?
I don't know.
Something.
It's
And
it's
is
pretty
it a
much
rosé?
light-
No, it's not 90
It's
bucks.
pretty much
We'll
a
look
light
it up on the
Pinot,
break.
though.
Sweet
Oh.
baby Jesus. It can't be $90.
But it's also like
It's
I
a
don't know,
Pinot.
It's been a
pretty
while
much.
since I've tasted it, but it was like 48 hours of skin contact, and
Okay.
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
It's so good.
$90.
It's big, yeah.
Dude,
Well,
okay.
good for them.
On every
Good
level.
if you can
Thanks
get
for
it.
selling it.
Yeah.
Sells out.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sells out.
Good if you
Man,
can
who
get
cares?
it. Sweet
Create
baby
the
Jesus.
demand.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
They can
good
sell their
stuff.
wine for whatever they want, man. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it makes
Maggie
my
can
job
sell
harder,
it.
but
Yeah.
it makes
Right.
my
Yeah, we
and
did
as
a
tour
winemaker
operator.
dinner with
Yeah.
her, and she's just
He was one of the first.
and, like the way she like comes up in the kitchen, and interacts with us, and then like goes into the dining room and talks with the guests. It's like you're a professional. Definition of professional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
People do not typically leave Antiquitera unhappy. Very rare.
No.
You pull up in that, at the winery, you pull up in that janky ass parking
Looks like the
lot.
beginning of a scary
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? It looks like a place that
Yeah.
makes
You
pallets.
want me to
Yeah.
walk?
not like
Where?
world class wine.
I'm gonna.
But actually, people, it's quite the opposite. After Antiquitera, people are like, where are we going next?
Right.
And you're like,
Oh, this person's
I gotta-
compensating with a fancy building because they can't back it up with their wine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's all the
different-
tastings they've had until then
Yeah,
and
different
after
situation.
that. Or a lot of them.
Speaking of Antiquitera, they ran tastings 3 years ago or 2 years ago out of the
That's right.
downstairs room.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, okay.
Because originally their tastings are in their barrel room, and then
yeah.
during harvest, it's too full of barrels
Right.
to do tasting. So they actually like lease a different like keeler now,
Right.
and they did it out
Barley
of our
and
place.
vine last year.
Barley and vine last
Which
year.
is, I was a bartender there at the time, so I got to drink.
Yeah. Well, they have the
That's where I
harvest.
got
They have the
familiar with
harvest
it.
house now.
Yeah.
Out on Sunnycrest or
right down the
whatever.
street.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
awesome.
Cool spot.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Number 3, Saint Innocent. This was one of mine. Mark Vlasik,
Yeah.
who's the owner winemaker out there, trained chef,
OG.
loves to cook.
Awesome.
I mean, this guy, yeah, he's been around a long time. Yeah. So you can go to their new property out at, it's technically Jefferson, Oregon, but it's right down the street from Willamette Valley Vineyards, which is in Turner, but geography down there, I'm
Yeah.
whatever.
Plug it in.
Yeah.
And they've got like a cabin. So if you do the lunch, if you do the winemaker's lunch, they've got like a separate cabin, and you go down there and Mark prepares all the food, and it's a whole like, it's a whole show. Very cool experience. I definitely recommend it for anybody who's staying down there.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to do is pair either St. Innocent or Willamette Valley Vineyards with a little hike out at Silver Falls,
Nice.
which hopefully isn't totally burned to a crisp. I know the fires were pretty damn close. I don't know, but
I'm
we'll.
not sure, but yeah.
So if you're a hiker, that's a great little pairing. It's a great day. You go out, hike around Silver Falls for an hour or two, even whatever. I mean, there's short hikes and everything. Go have a food pair tasting at St. Innocent, and spend a couple hours there. Granted, those wines, I don't know how many St. Innocents you've had. They need to sit. They're right out of the chute. You're like,
Yep.
whoo! This needs some time. This is some harsh shit.
Tighter
Like
than a nun's asshole.
yeah.
Is that the quote from Sideways?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If somebody orders a fucking Merlot, I'm leaving.
Yes.
that
I will not
movie.
drink below.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best
You're the
part
you're the
ever.
person from this group I would have expected to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. So Saint Innocent, highly recommended. Oh, and they have a food. They have a good food program in general, so you can go and get butcher boards. And I looked on their website today, and apparently they're offering like a burger now. You can like order their burger, and I might need to get back down there because
Yeah.
we are doing a burger episode.
Let's go.
I want to do like a
yeah, we're doing a
burger
burger episode.
smackdown or something because I care very much about this
Hey, when you do that,
burger.
let us
yeah.
know, and
Yeah, we're
maybe we'll
competing.
craft one.
But if
Put
you
on
make
a
Stefan a
burger.
burger,
Let's do
just
an
don't
Iron
put too
Chef
much
where
cheese on his
burgers, the
burger.
secret
we
Not
do,
too much cheese.
we do food cook-offs between me and him.
Oh, all the
We've done
time.
like 4 or 5 of them, and burgers was one of
Smackdown?
them.
Yeah.
Smackdown. I'm
We'll
all about
invite
Smackdown.
a panel of guests who were just like friends, and we'll plate all the food, not in front of them, send it out so
Fully
they have no
blind
idea
to
who it
them.
is, blind tasting with the
You have my number.
Yeah.
full
Scorecard.
You have my
and,
number.
Yeah, like
We're
That's
even.
so
We're
awesome.
even.
right
We're
now.
like 2
You know
and
what?
2.
I'm gonna bring my mom as my date because that
Oh,
woman
she
loves
is-
nothing more than critiquing
Perfect.
pretty much anything
Yeah.
at all
Perfect.
times.
Love it.
Speaking of
So,
cellar
and my
Saint
daughter.
Innocent wines,
Oh, I was
though,
gonna say Bridget,
I was searching about 2 or 3 years ago for a birth year Oregon Pinot, and the one I finally came up on was a Magnum 1994 Saint Innocent
Hell
Pinot,
yeah.
which is in my cellar up there.
Wow.
Waiting to figure out which birthday I'm gonna open that on.
Yeah.
They hold up. Those are
Yeah.
wines that do hold up. Sockelblosser.
Yeah. Cool
Yep.
food program.
Yeah,
Uh,
dedicated. They,
everything
Yep.
from small bites to like an actual paired tasting.
the Farm and Forage.
Farm and forage.
How long have they been doing it?
A couple of years on the Farm and Forage.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
At
I did the
least-
Farm and
at
Forage when they
least 2.
first started it.
Yeah.
And that is different than Soder and some of these other programs, pair tastings. You are in their kitchen, and they can take, I think, up to 8 people around this table, and the chef is right there.
Yep.
Talking through the food, serving it to you, boom, boom, boom. Then they have another server come and pour the wines.
Yep.
It's very intimate.
Dinner and a show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I loved it. I thought the food was very solid, very good, and but man, it's like 2 hours easy.
Yeah.
And then Sockelblosser now they've got a menu like mac and cheese. They've got meatballs. They've got of course butcher boards and stuff. They've stepped up their game, food program wise as well.
Nice.
So, and the last one,
Stoller.
Stoller,
One
Yeah.
of our good friends is part of their chef team.
Chef Daniel.
Stoller, though, with their expansion, they've increased their food abilities, which has been pretty cool to watch. Because Stoller tends to be more casual guests that also want food in the middle of the day. And one of my encouragements to guests is, look, if you're going to stop for lunch and you're going to pay X number of dollars for food and you're probably going to buy a drink, like it comes out to almost the same amount of money if you just wrap in what would have been one tasting and whatever you paid for lunch.
Yeah, some of them.
Go do the paired sit-down experience.
Yeah, the guest. So I think it's Stoller. They call it the gastronomic
Yep.
experience. Good experience, 125, something like that. But they also have sandwiches.
Yeah.
That you can buy, of course, and butcher boards and everything. And which brings us to the last point is so those are kind of designated food tastings, but then there's other wineries that have cool food programs.
True.
Brooks.
Brooks is one.
For quite a few years, they've had a great food program, like a menu, tasty food, kind of expensive, but good.
They also have Brooks also has non-COVID years obviously, but they do pizza Friday night.
Yep.
Club
Yeah.
parties
Yep.
every Friday. They do the brick fire oven out
Yep.
there on the back deck. Cool
Yeah.
parties.
And their white wine program. Just
Sure.
off
Oh
the
my
charts.
God.
Yeah,
the
the
Rieslings.
Rieslings.
More-
Sign me
yeah,
up.
more white
All
wines
day
than
long.
anyone else.
Claire
Yep.
kills it. Like
Yeah.
she's
Yeah,
too good.
I love Brooks.
Willamette Valley Vineyards.
Left
they,
Coast
They have a
Cellars.
menu.
Oh, yeah,
Left
Willamette Valley
Coast.
Vineyards.
They
Yep.
do the pizzas on. They do the pizzas on the weekend, and then like paninis or something during the week.
Yep.
Bergstrom pre-COVID.
Bergstrom
That
pre-COVID
Echelon
does the
tasting.
Echelon. Serene has the 45th Parallel,
Yep.
which is very grand tasting, and I've
Yep.
heard really good things about that.
And you're
Yeah,
tasting
Jason
Oregon
might have
wines
done that.
next to Burgundian wines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, not during COVID. There's a few more choices.
Right.
Fairsing has had their St. Helens tasting. They
Yep.
called it, which was
They do their picnics
very
too,
nice.
and I
Yeah.
think they've even been doing that through COVID.
At Fairsing
Yep.
picnics. Good.
Pretty
Yep.
sure.
So there's a few options, a few less during COVID, but sometimes it's hard to leave out like a Red Hills Market because I imagine in my head people come back from their trip and they say, "Oh, I went to Oregon and we had a great time," and their friends say, "Oh, we've been to Oregon before. Did you go to Red Hills Market?"
Right.
I'm like, "Oh, no, we didn't. We ate at a vineyard." "Oh, you have to go to Red Hills Market." Like,
Yeah.
the place is kind of like a landmark.
What does their sign say? It's like 80,000 roast beef sandwiches sold
Right.
or something
Yeah.
like that.
How many served? Yeah, it's so.
So even
That's
on
the
nights that we're not
balance.
doing dinners here, we'll tell people, "Hey, Red Hills Market's right down the
Right.
street. Order it to go. Bring it back up here. Like, eat your dinner with a view, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be kick-ass."
Or
Yeah.
order it to go and eat there.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just so you don't have to wait.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it can be an hour wait.
Oh
easy,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Even for like
Man.
And they do
counter service.
catering. Like they have a badass like vintage truck with the wood fired
Yeah.
oven on the
Yeah.
back of it
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
pull up. Like
I know. We
They
need to
kill
get
it.
Jody on.
We'll get Jody. on.
Yeah.
Well, and there's
Yeah,
nothing.
now's the time to
I
do
do
it.
want
He's
to
killing
say bringing like snacks into the winery is cool, but if you're gonna go and you're gonna pay for wine, you're already wine tasting. Why not buy some really good food that a really good chef is making
Right.
Right.
specifically for
a
the wine you're
serious
drinking?
chef.
Right.
Exactly,
Yes.
serious chef. All right, we got to wrap this up. We will be right back with what's beautiful and what's brutal.